For years, Rick Lagina, Marty Lagina, Emma Culligan, and the entire Oak Island team have been chasing clues that many believe could lead to one of history's greatest hidden treasures. Along the way, they have uncovered ancient artifacts, discovered mysterious structures, and revealed evidence suggesting that something extraordinary may have taken place on Oak Island centuries ago. But what if one of the most important clues in the entire mystery has been misunderstood from the very beginning? Hidden within the famous Oak Island treasure maps is a detail so unusual and easily overlooked that it could completely change the way we interpret everything the team has been searching for. Think about it. Millions of dollars have been invested, decades of research have been conducted, and countless excavations and theories have been built around a single assumption. But what if that assumption is wrong? What if the maps that everyone believes point toward the treasure were never intended to lead anyone to it in the first place? As Rick and the team continue uncovering new evidence, another possibility begins to emerge. One that could explain why the treasure has remained hidden for more than 2 centuries. When certain symbols, directions, and markings are examined together, a surprising pattern starts to take shape. A pattern suggesting that the maps may not be guiding searchers towards the treasure at all, but actually leading them away from it. If that theory is correct, then one of the greatest treasure hunts in modern history may have been following a false trail from the very beginning. By the end of this story, you'll understand why this forgotten clue could force us to rethink everything we thought we knew about the Oak Island mystery. Because if this interpretation is accurate, the island's greatest secret may have been hidden in plain sight all along. Hidden markers in plain sight. Surveyor. Steve Guptill walked along Oak Island's shoreline with a clear purpose. He was heading toward a location roughly 280 feet away in the center of an area known as the Boulderless Beach. This stretch of shoreline is famous for its unusual lack of natural rocks, making any large stone found there seem especially suspicious. Steve wasn't wandering aimlessly. He was following a path based on an ancient French map believed to date back to the 1400s. Researcher Zena Halpern believed this map held the key to solving the Oak Island mystery. Her theory had already helped identify one anchor stone, and now the team was searching for a second one on the island's northern shore. Marty Lagina, his son Alex, Jack Begley, and Gary Drayton followed closely behind. When they were about 60 feet away, they spotted something remarkable. A massive boulder sitting exactly where it shouldn't have been. This was believed to be the North Anchor Stone. As the team moved closer, they noticed something even more intriguing. Carved into the top of the stone was a marking that resembled either the letter T or a cross. Alex Lagina wondered whether it was simply a natural formation, but others thought it looked strikingly similar to a ship. What made the discovery even more significant was that this stone appeared to be a twin of another boulder previously found on the southern side of the island. Both stones were nearly identical in size and shape and displayed similar markings. Even more impressive, Zena Halpern had identified both stones using advanced LiDAR scans before the team ever stepped onto the beach. That added significant credibility to her theory. If the stones truly served as anchor markers, they could potentially be used to pinpoint a very specific location on the island. Gary Drayton noted that anyone approaching from open water would likely notice these rocks immediately. They would have served as ideal landmarks for locating a hidden entrance or important site. For the team, it felt like they were finally making real progress. The discovery of these boulders was exciting, but it was only the beginning of a much larger puzzle. A geometric treasure map, Zena Halpern, explained that the anchor stones could be used as reference points to triangulate the exact location of the legendary Money Pit Vault. Using a map published in 1939 that showed several key boulders and their measurements, she drew lines connecting various markers. Remarkably, every line intersected at the same location. The most astonishing part was that this point was only 3 feet away from a massive steel shaft the team had already excavated. When the findings were presented in the war room, everyone was stunned. The data aligned almost perfectly. However, identifying a location is one thing. Understanding who created it, and why, is an entirely different challenge. Steve Guptill carefully verified every measurement to ensure they were not simply connecting random rocks. He discovered that the distance between the western anchor stone and the northern anchor stone matched the mathematical predictions exactly. The level of precision involved was extraordinary, especially if the system truly dated back to the 1400s. It suggested that whoever designed the treasure system was working according to a carefully planned blueprint. They weren't merely burying something underground. They were creating a landscape-scale map. What made the discovery even more compelling was that it appeared to confirm information from multiple independent sources. For a team that had spent years focused on the money pit, this new perspective offered an entirely different way of viewing the island. It was as though they were seeing Oak Island through the eyes of its original builders. Marty Lagina encouraged the team to provide Erin with every piece of data available. If her methods continued to prove accurate, she might be able to identify the exact location of the hidden vault. At this point, the search had become about much more than digging. It had evolved into a centuries-old geometric puzzle waiting to be solved. The Massachusetts Stone Clue. Another fascinating clue comes from a famous artifact known as the Boat Stone, a 250-pound boulder located in Westford, Massachusetts. The stone is well known for a series of carvings that many researchers believe date back to the 1400s. These carvings appear to depict a ship, an arrow, and the number 184. Several years ago, researcher Robert Marcus proposed a bold theory. He believed these markings were actually part of a treasure map connected to Oak Island. According to Marcus, the carvings may have been created by the Scottish Templar knight Henry Sinclair. Many supporters of this theory believe Sinclair sailed to Nova Scotia in 1398 and secretly hid a vast treasure there. If true, the boat stone could represent one of the earliest surviving clues pointing toward Oak Island's enduring mystery, linking ancient voyages, hidden treasures, and centuries of speculation into a single fascinating story. A theory that could rewrite history. According to some researchers, the treasure hidden on Oak Island may include some of the most legendary artifacts in history, items such as the Ark of the Covenant and the golden menorah from King Solomon's temple. If that theory is true, it would completely change our understanding of North American history. One of the most intriguing pieces of evidence is the famous Boat Stone. Many believe the carvings on this stone represent a coastal route, directing travelers to follow the shoreline. If interpreted correctly, that route would eventually lead straight to Oak Island. At first glance, the idea that a carved stone in Massachusetts could be connected to a small island in Nova Scotia sounds unbelievable. Yet the evidence continues to grow. The stones discovered by the Lagina team on Oak Island's shoreline contain markings that closely resemble those found on the Boat Stone. This has led some researchers to believe that both sites may have been created by the same group of people. Even more remarkable is the level of planning involved. These individuals appear to have used advanced geometry and surveying techniques centuries before modern technology existed. Rather than simply burying treasure, they may have constructed an elaborate security system designed to protect it. Every stone, carving, and marker could have been part of a much larger puzzle. Marty Lagina was eager to learn what other discoveries Aaron Helton's research might reveal. Finding the treasure chamber remained the ultimate goal, and the anchor stones appeared to be only the beginning. However, more evidence was needed to confirm such an extraordinary story. What came next made the mystery even more fascinating. Ancient maps and a hidden mission researcher, Robert Marcus spent years investigating possible links between Oak Island, the Knights Templar, and Scottish explorer Henry Sinclair. His theory suggests that the Templars may have been fleeing Europe while carrying sacred relics they desperately wanted to protect. According to this idea, Oak Island offered the perfect hiding place, remote, isolated, and easy to defend. In this scenario, the boat stone would have served as a navigational marker, guiding trusted travelers toward a predetermined destination. This detail is important because it suggests careful planning and organization. Whoever created these markers knew exactly where they were going. Supporters of this theory point to the many unusual discoveries made on Oak Island over the years. From lead crosses to centuries-old coins, numerous artifacts appear to indicate a European presence long before Christopher Columbus reached the Americas. For many researchers, the boat stone has become one of the most significant clues in the entire mystery. It appears to connect a location in the United States directly to Oak Island and its hidden secrets. As more evidence emerges, pieces of the puzzle that once seemed unrelated are beginning to fit together. Some even believe that Henry Sinclair's voyage may represent a missing chapter in the story of the New World. The ancient maps of Zena Halpern. The investigation took another dramatic turn when the team met with historian Doug Crowell and researcher Zena Halpern. Zena had spent years studying ancient documents and believed she had uncovered 2 maps and a coded message capable of solving the Oak Island mystery. One of her maps was allegedly dated to the year 1179, centuries before most historians believe Europeans were active in the region. The map referenced a place called Roden, which Zena believed corresponded to New Ross, Nova Scotia. Some researchers have long speculated that New Ross may have once been the site of a Templar fortress. If true, this would suggest that the Knights Templar may have reached the area long before Henry Sinclair's famous voyage of 1398. Zena also possessed a hand-drawn map that appeared to depict Oak Island itself. Written in French, the map included labels identifying several locations across the island. One area, called the Basin, closely resembled what is now known as the Swamp. Another location labeled the Marsh appeared to match the island's low-lying terrain. The map also identified a dam at a location where researchers had previously discovered a wooden wall structure. What truly captured the team's attention, however, were several labels that referred to features no one had ever found. Among them were locations identified as the anchors, the valve, and the hatch. A note on the map stated, "The Oak enter here," with an arrow pointing directly toward the Money Pit area. For the team, it felt like receiving instructions from the people who may have originally hidden the treasure. Rick Lagina immediately wanted the documents examined and verified. He was particularly interested in the reference to the hatch. According to local legends, an early treasure hunter once spoke of an underground hatch that could supposedly be uncovered with only a small amount of digging. The story warned explorers not to venture too far once they found it. If true, it suggested the existence of an extensive network of tunnels beneath the island. The mystery was becoming increasingly complex. Still, the team knew they couldn't ignore a map that had already appeared to match several known features of Oak Island. Matching the island to the map, what made Zena's research especially compelling was the amount of documentation supporting it. She had devoted much of her life to studying the history and movements of the Knights Templar. Her belief was that the Order had carried out a secret mission to protect sacred relics from falling into the wrong hands. In her view, the maps were much more than navigational aids. They were coded messages designed to conceal important information. As the team compared the ancient maps to modern surveys of Oak Island, they noticed striking similarities. The basin appeared to correspond with the swamp. The marsh matched the island's low-lying areas. The dam aligned with the wall structure previously discovered by Fred Nolan. The more they compared, the more convincing the connections seemed. Only a few key locations remained undiscovered: the anchors, the valve, and, most importantly, the mysterious hatch. For the first time, the team felt they had more than theories and speculation. They now had a series of specific targets that matched the island's geography. The discovery injected new urgency into the search. A strange discovery in the woods. While exploring the wooded area near his property, Dave Blankenship stumbled upon something unusual. Interestingly, he wasn't searching for treasure at the time. He had actually been out looking for a deer with a friend. Instead, he found something that might prove far more important. On the western side of Oak Island, Dave noticed an odd depression in the ground. This immediately caught his attention because most treasure hunting activity had always focused on the eastern side of the island, particularly around the Money Pit. Finding a potentially significant feature far to the west was unexpected and exciting. For Rick and Marty Lagina, the discovery represented another opportunity to test the accuracy of Zena Halpern's ancient maps. Dave had spent decades living on Oak Island and knew the terrain better than almost anyone. If he believed something looked out of place, the team took his observations seriously. What appeared to be a simple hole in the woods might actually be something far more important, a hidden entrance connected to the island's mysterious underground network. And if that turned out to be true, the team could be closer than ever to uncovering one of Oak Island's greatest secrets. A hidden entrance revealed? The mysterious hole was located in a quiet, secluded area of Oak Island, far from the places that usually attract attention. At first glance, it looked untouched, as though it had been sitting there undisturbed for centuries. Wanting to learn more, Jack Begley decided to compare the ancient map with modern technology. Working from the back of a Yukon, he overlaid the centuries-old drawing onto current satellite imagery of the island to see whether the landmarks actually lined up. What he discovered was astonishing. The match was remarkably accurate. When the old map was aligned with modern aerial photographs, the location marked as the Hatch appeared almost exactly where Dave Blankenship had discovered the unusual depression in the ground. The spot was located near the area where Dave's driveway meets the island's main road. The precision surprised everyone. Despite being hundreds of years old, the map seemed to guide them to a specific location, with an accuracy that felt almost like modern GPS technology. Jack enlarged the images and showed them to Rick and Marty Lagina. The coastline illustrated on the ancient map closely mirrored the island's actual shoreline. While there were slight differences caused by centuries of erosion and natural changes, the major landmarks still matched. The swamp was in the right place. The money pit aligned correctly. And now, the mysterious hatch appeared to as well. Encouraged by the findings, Rick and Marty visited the site alongside professional archaeologist Laird Niven to investigate further. Carefully making their way through dense vegetation, the team eventually arrived at the location. The moment they saw it, they realized they might be looking at something significant. This wasn't an ordinary hole. The depression had a distinct square shape, giving the impression that it had been deliberately created, rather than formed naturally. It appeared as though someone had intentionally removed rocks from the area, leaving behind what looked very much like the outline of an entrance. Laird examined the feature closely and noticed something unusual. The soil inside the depression was noticeably loose and different from the compact ground surrounding it. This suggested that the area may have been disturbed at some point in the past. Based on his observations, Laird proposed an intriguing possibility. The opening could be connected to a tunnel extending underground in another direction. For the team, this was exactly the kind of evidence they had hoped to find. Almost immediately, they began considering a fascinating theory. What if this wasn't just another strange feature on Oak Island? What if it was a hidden access point? A secret back entrance into the legendary money pit system? If so, it could represent one of the most important discoveries in the history of the search. And it raises an even bigger question. What if the treasure hidden beneath Oak Island is worth far more than gold and silver alone? Could the island be concealing something that would completely change our understanding of history? The mystery continues, and each new discovery brings the team one step closer to the truth.